Mr. Maye. How we doing this week?
What's going on? How you doing?
We're doing great. We are very much excited to have a January week where we're preparing for a playoff game. But before we get to that, I wanted to ask you, I asked Marcus Jones, your teammate, co-captain, this earlier. Did you have a chance last night, today, to just sit back, maybe just for a few minutes and kind of reflect on the season, enjoy that the regular season's over, you got 14 wins, you are the number 2 seed, or are you just too focused on moving ahead in the Chargers?
Yeah, I think after the locker room, it was a good reflection point to look back on the season and what we've done. And I think it's now kind of into the week where, it's playoff time, so it's time to go.
So, Drake, yesterday I saw in the second half a lot of very meaningful passes were being thrown around the yard yesterday, helping some of your teammates reach incentives. And it seemed to be, obviously, there were a lot of reasons to be joyful because you guys were winning and capping off a remarkable season. But seemed like you guys took a lot of joy, you especially, in helping some of your teammates reach those incentives yesterday afternoon. How much did that matter to you?
I think it's a cool part of the game that people that work hard and get rewarded for kind of bonuses that they hit, and it's a lot of money. And I think at the end of the day, it's cool when they're in a position to kind of get things like that at the end of the game where we got it kind of handled and can focus on things like that and not. Really, that's really, like I said in my post-game press conference, really the only time I felt like we were a little, this team's selfish at all. Try to get some of those guys some extra, things that they deserve and work so hard for.
Drake, you've been very gracious and deferential whenever anybody asks about how well you're playing, MVP, blah, blah, blah. With all due respect, and I think you might agree with this, Ramondre Stevenson might be the best player on the offense over the last 3 weeks or so. How good has he been, and how important can he be as a weapon heading into the postseason?
Yeah, like I said all year, we haven't lost confidence in Ramondre. He brings it every week. He's all three phases: running the ball, catching the football, pass blocking. He's easy going. He's a great teammate. He's never gets too high, too low. He's always just cool, calm, and always got a smile on his face. And he's been a great addition for us this season. I know he's had some kind of a bounce back from early on in the year, and we never lost out in him, especially specifically, myself and Coach McDaniels and the guys in the offense really, trusted him, and Coach Vrabel, the whole way.
Drake, you got a lot to be proud of this season. The incredible turnaround from 4-13 last year to 14-3 this year, being in the MVP discussion, being so popular and having the top-selling jersey, having so many, new fans in Patriots Nation trusting you, having faith that things are turned around. So I'm just kind of curious, what do you take the most pride in of all the excellent things that you've earned and that have happened this year?
Yeah, the same thing I said last night. I think 14 wins. I think just trying to be the same each and every week and not change my preparation or what I do and what I focus on. And from there, just the ability to spread the ball around on offense is always a cool deal when everybody's making plays and everybody's having their moments and having their games and just cares about winning.
Drake Maye, quarterback, New England Patriots, here on a Patriots Monday on WEEI Afternoons. Drake, I'm wondering, because this is your first full season as the starter and your first year with Josh McDaniels, how has your input in game planning or play selection or some of the aspects of the offense and the play calling, how has that evolved over the course of the season? Do you have more say now late in the year than maybe you did early in the year?
I think it's just more trust between me and Coach of what plays I like, what plays I can get out of, and get to plays. And I think just for Coach, just of us being on the same page of when to, knowing the situation and when to be aggressive and when to be just try to move the chains and pick up the first down.
So after a full season with Josh McDaniels, now 2 years in the league, and all these starts and a lot of big wins this year, what would you say, which aspect of your game do you believe has improved the most after your sophomore season in the NFL?
I think just playing the position. One thing it comes with leadership. Growing as on the field of knowing situations. Just keep on trying to learn as much football as I can. Soak in as much knowledge about what situation we're in, what situation point of the game we're at, and just try to play the position at a high level. And I think just trying to continue to do that and grow in any aspect I can is something I keep on working towards and trying to fine tune things.
Your buddy Will Campbell got back out there yesterday, and then post-game, he had some really interesting comments. He said there's no coach he'd rather play for than Coach Vrabel, and he's having as much fun with this team as he had since high school, and he was told that the NFL wasn't fun, that it was a business. Do you sort of agree with those sentiments? Is there no coach you'd rather play for, and are you having as much fun as maybe you've ever had?
Man, it's been a blast. It's been a blast with Coach Vrabel and just the way he cares about us, but at the same time has the respect of all the guys in the locker room and how hard he coaches us and how hard he coaches the players that are mean the most to the team. And I think that's one of the cool things about him. I feel like he ensures that we all mean the most to the team, and everybody's got a civic role and a big role in showing up on Sundays and winning games. And I think that's one of the best things he always says. It takes everybody, and I think that came true this year, and it's been huge for us.
Speaking of Will Campbell, your guy, Big Country, how did it feel to have your buddy back out there protecting your blind side and involved in the game plan, knocking a little rust off, getting ready for the playoffs?
Yeah, it's great having Big Willie back out there. I told him, right when I got out there in the huddle, good to have you back, Big Willie. Let's go down and score. And we had 3 handoffs, and we were in the end zone. So that was pretty cool.
I saw you run a couple times yesterday and end those runs going head first instead of sliding. Was that circumstantial? Was that intentional? Because I'm actually somebody who thinks that can be safer, and Greg Olson brought that up on the broadcast, that the former tight end said that that's what he would teach. He thinks it's safer when quarterbacks go head first because they control where their head goes. Just wondering, was that intentional yesterday? Have you thought about that?
I think it's, we're still protected, and I think the biggest thing is the ball is farther down the field than when I slide, feet first. So that's my trying to pick up first downs, try to slide head first.
So now that you guys wrap up the regular season, you begin the tournament, you move on to the second stage into the dance, the postseason. How are you anticipating the intensity to escalate? I'm sure Coach Vrabel addressed that in the locker room with you guys last night. How are you anticipating how much more ferocious, how much more intense things may feel come Sunday night?
Yeah, I think there's a win or go home mentality that the playoffs comes with, and what makes this sport and the NFL so special and so cool. These playoff moments are high intensity, high pressure, high anticipation, and looking forward to playing at home in Gillette on a night game. It'll be pretty sweet.
Heading into the biggest game of your sports life and knowing your experiences from the past, how are you going to feel Sunday night? Are you going to be amped up, excited? Is there going to be a little bit of trepidation? Are you a guy that gets a little queasy or nervous before the game? How will you feel Sunday night?
No, I think the next game has always been the biggest game, and I think it's definitely heightened anticipation and pressure, but it's what you prepare and practice for, and all these things that they always say is preparation and believing in your teammates, and just following our identity that we've had this year will make me feel confident and ready to go.
It sort of looked like it may be the Chargers the way things were likely to have played out in Week 18. So you guys probably have had a gut feeling for a little while now that you may be matching up with them, and that's what's happening Sunday night. Have you had a chance to get to work on them yet? And what do you think overall of the Los Angeles Chargers and what kind of challenge they're going to present?
Yeah, I remember playing them last year. Same defensive coordinator, a lot of the same players. They're physical, they're good up front. They're good in the back end. They play a lot of zone, and we'll have our hands full with a good opponent coming in here with a great quarterback and a good offense as well.
You mentioned the quarterback. We've done a lot of the Drake Maye, Josh Allen comparisons, but Justin Herbert's another guy you've been compared to quite a bit. Do you like his game? Do you see that comparison? What are your thoughts on Justin Herbert?
I'm a huge fan of Justin and what he does, year in and year out, and have been a big fan since watching him, back at Oregon. So, he spins the football at a very high level. He can move and make plays, and one of the best things about him, I think, is his personality and just wanting to win, and how he, how I see, videos and stuff about him, bonding with his teammates, and like I said, just a big fan of his game, and look forward to matching up with him.
Are there any sort of past Patriots or friends, people in the league that you would consider checking in with about, how the game is so different in the playoffs, or just picking the brain up for a little advice just to try to gain every competitive advantage you can heading into Sunday night?
Yeah, I think there's some players on our team that played in high playoff scenarios. Coach McDaniels obviously played in a lot of these games and coaching a lot of them. And Coach Vrabel, what better than Coach Vrabel playing at a high level, and our head coach is right there in the building.
How are you feeling at this point in the season, both physically and mentally? Has this felt like a long year I mean, you've played, 17 football games now. You've taken a bunch of hits. I'm sure you're working really hard, stressed out at times, prepping. How are you feeling mentally and physically as you head to the playoffs?
I'm feeling great. I think it goes by so fast, and to think where we were at, a year ago this time, I was packing up my stuff. So what a time to be playing quarterback for the New England Patriots, and look forward to getting a chance to play a home playoff game. That's pretty special, and take advantage of every opportunity I get, and don't take for granted what a opportunity we have.
And what a time for May or May Not.
May or may not. It's time for a weekly peek. May or may not. Inside the likes, loves, mind, and style of New England's quarterback. May or may not. May not. On WEEI Afternoons.
All right, Drake, you had some interesting comments about college bowl games last week. And this week, the transfer portal is open. So that had me thinking, NIL money and the transfer portal are good for college football. May or may not.
Say it one more time. I lost you a little bit.
NIL money and the transfer portal are good for college football. May or may not.
NIL. I think the transfer portal is I think it is great for college football for so many kids that get an opportunity to go play somewhere else or get a bigger opportunity. I think there should be a limit on when the portal can be used and cannot. I think they just added a new one, so I'm not really totally sure. But I think transfer portal is a good deal. I think college athletes getting paid for how much revenue they're bringing to the school is good for the kids and good for the players. I think it needs to create some type of cap or something, so all these teams that are have a fair, even chance, or whether it's tiered or however, for competing for championships. But I think it's a pretty cool deal what college football's getting to, and it's really prepping these guys for the league that we're in now.
Well, we flipped a page on the calendar. It is a new year, 2026. So we wanted to know, may or may not, wishing Happy New Year to people after the first 4 days of the new year.
Yeah, I think we can. Really, the whole month of January, I think, is a Happy New Year, I think. And then, after that, I think maybe February starts getting a little out of the ordinary. But I think anytime you see somebody for the first time, and in January, I think it's safe. It's safe.
All right. Along those same lines, a lot of people are cutting back on a certain thing, and it's a very polarizing topic. Dry January, may or may not.
I'm fine with the New Year's resolution. I don't know about dry January. I haven't heard as much as that. I've heard a couple times, but I think the New Year's resolutions, I like those, and seeing how long, and whether it's a year or how long you can go.
All right, so continuing on the New Year theme, keeping your Christmas decorations up into mid or late January, may or may not.
It wouldn't be up to me. I think my wife is. I think she's taking them down probably as we speak. So she's doing that, and I think it's pretty. I think as long as there's snow on the ground, it kind of reminds me of the Christmas season, and there's snow on the ground here for a while. So maybe the January and February. March would be a little too long, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so watching the game yesterday, we're starting to see more and more Drake Maye commercials. There's a financial one where you're pulling ginger snaps out of the oven and various things. So filming commercials, may or may not.
I think may. I think any time that you can. You try to do something out of your ordinary, out of your comfort zone. I don't think I'm a great actor, and I got a southern drawl, so people can't really understand me great anyway. But if I get out of the comfort zone and have some fun, I think I'm all for it.
So how many takes are there for some of these ads we see? Are they quick, or you get it done in one take, or does this take a while?
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good. I got a pretty good memory, and they usually like my charm that I bring to it, so I'm usually pretty quick.
Who's a better actor, you or your left tackle, Will?
Oh, Big Willie. Big Willie's one of a kind. No one better.
All right. Well, following up on Andy's question to you about filming commercials, a lot of Boston representation in Hollywood from Matt Damon, the Wahlbergs, Ben Affleck. So the idea of taking your talents to Hollywood for TV or movie cameos may or may not.
Ooh, may not. I think that's a little bit out of my range. I think that is, but no, a lot of respect to those guys. Good Will Hunting, what a movie that is. I know it's Boston based, so some great actors, and I know a lot of Patriots fans. So that's pretty cool.
Not going to see you in the new season of Ted on Hulu?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm a big fan of Ted, too. Those are sweet.
Time now for the quarterback question of the week. Quarterback question of the week is brought to you by Northeast Men's Health, the experts in treating men's sexual health with 6 New England offices, or at northeastmenshealth.com. This week's question comes from Ted in Taunton. He says he and his family think you are the NFL MVP, but if he asked you to state your case for the award, what would you say your case is to be the NFL MVP?
I appreciate that, Ted. I think just our team, 14-3. Winning the AFC East in a year that a lot of people, would have bet on us not to. I think that's what this league's about, winning. And I think, from there, just, ability to spread the ball around and try to get a lot of teammates involved is what I enjoy to do. I think we did that this year, and looking forward to hosting a home playoff game. So.
All right, Drake, congrats on the regular season. Good luck in the prep this week, and most importantly, good luck on Sunday night against the Chargers.
Sweet. Thank you, guys. Go Pats.